Okay, we're at our Indian buffet at home. So since all the buffets are closed, I had to make an Indian buffet because it's one of my favorites. And this is how I set it up. Hot rice, straight out of the Instant Pot. My rice was made with broth mix, or you could use vegetable broth. And I'm putting some on my plate. Now, whenever I have a party and I have a lot of guests, I make a lot of different things so that they don't have to go like one thing heavy. It's not like rice heavy. And they can always come back for seconds so they can taste everything. I like to set up my slow cooker. You could use your Instant Pot on the slow cooker setting, but I use my Instant Pot to make my rice. And this is my red lentil dal. And you could thin this out a little bit. This is actually, you might like your dal thick like this, and it's delicious for a party because then it's not going to go all over the plate. It's going to stay on the rice, but that just takes simmering it down more to make it this thick of a consistency. But you could add a little bit more water to this to thin it out if you want to stretch it farther.
I wish we could show how great this place smells.
Oh, it smells amazing. It smells like the Indian buffet. Okay, without the oil, of course. So I have my oil-free samosas here. If you haven't tried one of these yet, they're like, well, it's an oil-free pastry that I've made with Protective Diet. I'm just going to give this a bite to show you what's on the inside. Potatoes, peas, oh my gosh, turmeric, ginger, coriander, cumin seeds, toasted up. Oh, and they come together so great. If you've made the Protective Diet oil-free egg rolls, this is going to be a cinch for you to make. And then I have all of my toppings. You can put them out here on the buffet, but I'm going to show you how I put them table side. I have the PD mango chutney, the new recipe of the week, PD Rita, and tamarind chutney. I have some ruby rock kraut, of course, to go on top of my red lentil dal. I love that. I think it adds a great touch.
Is that pronounced Rita or Raita?
Raita. You can call it Rita. You can call it whatever you want. I call it delicious. This is going to cool everything
Gone.
off.
That's what I want to
Yeah,
call it.
it's called Gone. Awesome, Jerry. I'm going to show you these table side because I really like to serve these table side like ketchup and mustard would be served, so you can add as much. Take a taste. If you love it, then you're at the table. You can add some more. I'm going to take 2 of these. Who are we kidding? And then, depending on how many guests you have. Anyway, then at Indian buffets, they always served like wedged iceberg lettuce. You could do romaine, something to cool everything off. Some tomatoes. You could put out some tongs or a fork. I didn't bother to get those out there yet. I'm realizing what I'm missing. But I'm going to take you over to the table now. Okay, and I suggest making the oil-free garlic naan while your guests are plating up their plates because you want that to be served hot. You could wrap it in a towel if you want, but if you haven't made the garlic naan, or you can keep it plain, oh my gosh, it's the best. It's just like at an Indian restaurant, soft, and it's got that chew. But if you have family members that aren't huge fans of the cilantro and the garlic and everything, do not ask them if they want their garlic naan plain. This is your chance to get that protection of the garlic and the cilantro in there. We have broth mix on there to make that buttery sauce. And believe me, if they eat garlic bread, they are going to gobble this up. No problem. These are mine. And then I'm going to show you how I serve the condiments. Before I get into those, I have my chai lattes here. We've got the chai going, the Indian chai. There's a recipe on Protective Diet. And this is how I froth my soy milk. So I give it a shake and I leave it on the table when I'm setting up the table so that it's not too cold, so it doesn't cool off my hot tea. So pour the hot tea and then add your frothed soy milk. All it takes is a jar, a lid, and leave some space so that it froths up like that. So
show them about how much space you can leave in the jar.
halfway. Fill it halfway.
Oh, okay.
Okay? And then we have our toppings. These are the ones that you saw in the jars on the buffet, like this.
All right.
Oops, I'm dripping. But I wanted to show you how we can serve it table side. If you have a lazy Susan, that's so much fun for your family to be able to spin it around. I always had those they always had them at Asian restaurants. So let me show you what's here and how I use it. So the mango chutney, you could put that on your naan. You could put it on your dahl. It's tangy and sweet. And this is the tamarind chutney. You could put that on your dahl, or you could put that on your naan. You could put that on plain rice and it's gonna be delicious. But my favorite thing to put on top of the dahl is the, how do you pronounce it, Jerry?
Raita.
Raita. I like this on everything. I'm gonna show them on my samosas. I made my samosas really spicy. So the raita, it cools everything off because it's got that plant-based yogurt
That's
base.
so good.
So delicious.
Oh
That
my
makes a samosa. And then, what do we have here? Oh, you could put the raita on top of your, this is how I used to, if you read the recipe description for the raita, this is what I used to eat at Indian restaurants when I was in spicy food training. I put this all over the naan, the lettuce, the tomato wedges. I think they had onion wedges too. When I would eat this little dollop of curry and try to work my way through it. Now I'm a spicy food champion. And then, oh, of course, these are pomegranate orills. Those are so good. That burst of tang and sweet with the dahl, you could serve that like that. If you have pomegranates, these were in my freezer. I cleaned my pomegranates and I froze them into little bags so that I have them handy, and I just defrosted them right before dinner. So here is my Indian buffet on a protective diet. I hope you give some of these recipes a try, and even if you just served your friends or family brown rice and the dahl and maybe some garlic naan, and you didn't get into the samosas on the first try, you can. But oh, just a reminder, the samosas, I serve them at room temperature. They hold up beautifully. When you go to an Indian buffet, they're never hot. And if you go to an Indian market, they serve these as snacks. They're never served hot. They're delicious room temperature just because you never get around to them. They make them up. They're usually deep fried and sat out. So don't panic and work yourself into a frenzy trying to get everything hot on the table. The dahl will stay nice and hot in your, or you could make any of the curries on a protective diet, but they'll stay nice and hot in the slow cooker. You want the naan to be hot, but even when this naan is cold, it stays, oh my gosh, just like real naan. It's one of my
Pliable.
favorite. Yes, pliable. If you've had naan, you know exactly what texture I'm talking about. Oh, and these are preserved lemons. And if you go back to the lesson in Protective Diet Education, where I take you on a tour of international markets, I take you to the Indian market, and that's the day that I learned how to make preserved lemons from a new friend I met at the store, and her mom and dad. She told me all about preserved lemons, and I brought them to you in Protective Diet Education. And in this setting, we use them as a palate cleanser. So when we're done with dinner, we can eat them up or in between. I love them. They're so protective and zingy and delicious. I hope you all make an Indian buffet at home soon on a protective diet. Take care.
Best of health.
Okay, leftovers from our protective diet Indian buffet, and we're having flatbread pizza topped with dahl, and I have fermented cranberries here. I slice those in half and put them on as a topping. Just some ideas for you, some jalapenos and red onion. Of course, we have all of our toppings from our Indian buffet yesterday. I grilled these pizzas, so I'm outside and enjoying a warmer day. And check it out. You could layer them up in all different ways. Here's one, a flatbread pizza with just the tamarind chutney on it, and then I put toppings. or you can put the mango chutney on top of that. You can serve them. You could just put the dahl on them and grill them or oven bake them. Use the oven baking recipe for the flatbread pizza if you're not into grilling. And that's my favorite pizza on a protective diet, by the way, the flatbread pizza. There's no rise time. It's a quick mix and goes right into the oven or onto the grill, and top it however you wish. But I would suggest just topping it with the dahl and then adding the toppings later. I grilled these with the jalapeno and the onions and the cranberries on there, and then I topped it with some ruby rock kraut and the rest of my toppings. You could just serve them tableside like we did for the Indian buffet. Just another option to use up your leftovers. I'm layering up Indian nachos featuring the Raita, the red lentil dal that I heated up with the steam reheat technique in my Instant Pot. Makes it really easy when working with leftovers. When I have dal, if I double the batch or if I have leftovers, which is unusual for Jerry and I will have Indian nachos the next day. I baked pita chips. These are lavash, really thin whole wheat pita bread, and I baked those in the oven, and then I garnished with my ruby rock kraut. You could garnish with shredded lettuce, and then I put some cilantro on there, and now I'm going to top with my red lentil dal. Giving a little bit on each chip. And next is the Raita. You can also add some mixed greens on top of your Indian nachos if you want to green it up a little.